Hello, this is Ben Hollifield, here to give you a look at a new app that we're calling The News for ServiceNow. Now, to give you an idea of what The News does, I want you to think about the way you consume normal news in your everyday life. For most of us, we have our favorite news sources, things like maybe New York Times, maybe the Wall Street Journal. Maybe we have some specialty blogs like Deadspin or Engadget that we like to check on. Now, sometimes we'll go out to those individual websites, the individual sources, and read them separately. But in this day and age, a lot of us use news aggregators, things like Flipboard, like Pulse. There are lots of them out there. Tools that bring together all of the news from our different sources into one place so we can consume it all in a very convenient fashion. It sort of gives us a view of our world, the things we care about, right on one screen. And wouldn't it be nice if we had something like that for ServiceNow? When you go into work in the morning, if you use ServiceNow, say you're at the IT help desk, what are the things you might do? You might go and check on new incidents and see what's happened. Maybe you'll go and see if there have been any new events from your event monitoring system. Perhaps you'll go out and see, are there any new changes coming today that you need to be aware of? And you're going to separate tables, separate views for all of these different things. And wouldn't it be nice if you could just see all of this in one easy-to-consume view? That's what the news does. If you look on the screen right now, you'll see that we have a screen from the news. Right here, you'll notice that we have little snippets of lots of different things, from incident, from knowledge, here's an event, and it's all sort of pulled into this card-based sort of UI that we can just scroll through and see all the new stuff that's happening. And it's sorted from newest to oldest, and so we can keep on just scrolling down through the line. If we see something we like, we can click into it and pull up that record just as easy as that. It's just an easy, simple way to consume all the things we care about. Now, how does this work? If we look over here in the left nav, once you have this installed, you have a new section called the News. And what we see here is a news feed. So we look at news feeds, you can have as many of these configured as you like. In this case, we're looking at Joe's news feed. So let's scroll in there and see what it looks like. So inside Joe's news feed, we have the news. These are all the articles that we just looked at, only this is in the record, the table form. And then we have news sources. Let's look at these. So Joe has 3 news sources set up. He has his new and P1 incidents. He has this external source feed that's going out to an external data source and pulling in information. Then we have new KB articles. So if we want to see how one of these looks, let's check out this new P1 incidents. Joe wants to know, when he goes into work on, say, a Monday morning, what P1 incidents have happened. What has he missed that he might care about? So all we do here is set up a data source. We have 2 types of data sources. We have simple and we have scripted, and we'll talk about both. For simple, we're pulling data from within ServiceNow, and we give you a very easy interface to determine what's gathered and how it looks. So first of all, for P1 incidents, we just use a table, incident. You can use any table in the system. There's incident. We can add conditions. In this case, priority is 1, critical. And then we have, what do we base the newness on? So when we're bubbling these things up to the top, part of the point of this news aggregator is we want to see what's new, what's happened recently. We don't want to see old stuff, and so we're going to bubble it up to the top based on a certain date. It might be the created date, it might be the updated date if we want to consider an incident new every time it's updated. For a KB article, it would probably be published. So we go ahead and set what we want the newness to be based on. And then we determine the content of this news story that we're actually going to see. And for this, we can give it a category. It's free form, but a lot of times it'll be like the source, for instance, incident. For a short description, we want to give it a friendly short description that tells us at a glance, what is this story about? Just like in the newspaper, what is this story about? What's going to get me hooked? And then we have content, and this is sort of the article itself. And what you'll see here is you can use a combination of record contents, of just prose that you make up, to create both these short descriptions and the description. So here we have just a static label of P1 Inc. And then we have this short description in squiggly brackets. You can use these squiggly brackets to pull in data from the record itself. So here we have short description. That means as this iterates through and looks for new incidents, when it finds one, it's going to have P1 Inc. and then it's going to put the actual short description from that record. And similarly, for description content, we have just pulling in comments. That's going to be the article, just the comments from that incident. And what happens is each of these news sources that you set up is going to run every single hour or on demand whenever you view the news feed, and it's going to pull in everything that's happened that you've missed. And it's going to build those into stories that have the short description, and category that you specify. And we have intelligence built in as well to where we're not going to pull in duplicates. We're not going to re-pull in the same story twice. We keep track of what's already in your feed. We bubble things to the top as they change, if you have it specified to do that. And so we always have sort of a pertinent list of new stuff for you to look at. And you can have any number of news sources. Like here we have the P1 incidents and we have knowledge. You can also have external sources. And what we do for these, this is a scripted source because we don't have any good, easy way to accommodate every possible need within a point-and-click interface. So we give you scripts and a very simple API, this make news function call, where you can use web services to go out to your external sources. You can do more complex queries within ServiceNow and sort of build your own list of stories that you care about, and then to insert them into your news feed, you just use this function and you tell us the description, the source description, the category, source URL, publish date, and a correlation ID, which is what helps us to root out duplicates. So you have complete freedom to do any server-side scripting you want to inject stories into a news feed, and that's what's happening here. And then when you do that, anytime you refresh a feed, it's going to pull in all those stories. And we put them in a standard ServiceNow table format, and this is useful in a few ways. It means that we have all this data here. You can go and look at it. You can see that there's the news feed it belongs to. Here's the published date as we specified, the category. We have a source URL link, short description. And by having it in this format, it means that we can use it in a lot of ways. We can run reports against it. We can run notifications against these things. We can roll our own user interfaces to make things look pretty. And that's exactly what we did with the card-based sort of Pinterest layout that you just saw. This is just a possible interface you could use. And it's pretty convenient. You can click in and easily sort of jump into these things. You could roll your own UI, list-based, whatever you like. So we look on in, you can think about the types of things you could do with this. So Joe's newsfeed is one thing. Maybe you're a ServiceNow developer, or maybe you're deploying ServiceNow right now, and you want to be able to keep track of what work is being done on the instance. Imagine running this against a news source that is your sys metadata table where all your scripts and configurations are built. Here we have this going against the application file, sys metadata table, and the short description is going to be the scope, global, or if it's a scoped app, what app is it in, the class name of the record being changed, and then just a little description, a configuration of type so-and-so, named so-and-so, has been inserted, updated in scope, sys scope. So with this news source, we can come into the news feed, launch that, and what we get is this list of all the changes that are being made in our instance. You can come out anytime and see what are my developers working on, what's the latest change. Oh, here's a scheduled script somebody built. If I want to see that, I can click right in. It takes me right to that configuration update that was made. So very powerful tool for ServiceNow admins and ServiceNow developers to keep track of what's happening on their instance. And you can see you can do this for any table in the system, so very flexible. And another option here, a way to consume this, maybe you don't want to come in and sort of browse what's been going on. You can also use this to set up a digest email. And here you can see what that does. We send a weekly digest and we set recipients. And then every Monday at 8 o'clock, we're going to gather up all of the news stories, all the news that's happened over the last 7 days, put links and descriptions into an email and send it out. And so whenever you get there in the morning, you have a new list of all the things that have happened over the past week that you care about. And you can read that, consume that at your leisure. So you're seeing that there's just a lot you can do with this. It's a very flexible app, has a lot of different capabilities, and there are some additional little things here we won't go too deep into, properties around character length and how to age out certain news stories. And then we also have link generators, those source URL links that we include in each news story might be different based on the table you're going into. So we're enabling you to go in here and build out the URLs so you can link to the record in the way you want to, you need to, and so that whenever you click on a story, it takes you where you need to go. We're including a fair amount of sample data here. We're including both of these link generators because these are the two that are generally different, knowledge and service catalog. And we're also including a couple of news sources just to get you started. New P1 incidents, KV articles, config updates. We're including all of those. You have examples of things you can do. And yeah, we're excited to see how you guys can use this. Again, I think there are a lot of potential uses for this that we haven't even thought about yet, and also a lot of cool ways to display this data. We just showed you the one sort of card-based layout, which I like to put over here in the edge so it's easy to get to. But there are lots of ways you could represent this data, and so we're hoping you guys come up with something cool, and if it's cool and you want to share it with us, then maybe we'll roll it into the product. Thanks a lot.